Hey folks, this is Teddy Burris, your LinkedIn coach and trainer, with a quick little tip that I want to share with you that I think can make it, that I know makes it much easier to mention people on LinkedIn. So I'm going to go back to my home page. And first of all, up in the search bar right here, what's really worth noting is that when I go up in this search bar, if I type in Bob Smith, well, we know that there are a lot of Bob Smiths. So here, let me just do a search. Search for Bob Smith. Just in my network alone, I got almost 23,000 Bob Smiths. So how do I get the right Bob Smith when I'm looking for Bob Smith and I want to go to his profile quickly? So Bob Smith, you type in his first name, you type in his last name, you type in the first word of the company name, C-O-N-E. There he is right there, Bob Smith of Cone Health. Now I could type in Bob Smith at Barry. Okay, there's Bob Smith at Barry Construction. I can type in Bob Smith at Allen Tate. Allen, Bob Smith, Allen Tate. Okay, so first name, last name, and then the first name of the company name. And check this out, even for Robert Smith, LinkedIn knows Robert is Bob. So really quick, that's a really quick little tip for searching for someone's name to be able to go to their profile quickly. Second thing to share with you, let me refresh. Second thing to share with you is that when I want to mention somebody in comments. So let's say I want to go down here and I want to comment. So when I go to comment, again, I can go, this would be useful for at Bob Smith Cone. And there's Bob Smith at Cone Health. Again, Bob Smith at Barry. There's Bob Smith at Barry Construction. Again, I can do Bob Smith at Allen. Bob Smith, Allen Tates. At first name, last name, the first word of the company name. Great way to, and now by the way, when I do that, I've got to click on this to select it. So watch this. Something else worth noting is when I can tag or mention Bob Smith in a comment, but I can backspace out the last name. So I can just say this will be useful for Robert. Now when I complete this, I hope he enjoys it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, when I post this, then it's going to mention him, which means it's going to send a notification if LinkedIn's notifications are working correctly, and let him know I mentioned him. One of the challenges of mention people, hello, you'll see, I think it was Bob Smith, and look here, Daniel Robert Smith. One of the challenges with mentioning people is, I don't know if he goes by Daniel or Robert, but if I want to just mention his first name or the name he goes by, all I can do is backspace out PhD, backsmith out Smith, and I got Daniel Robert. But if I back out Robert, he may go by Robert, not Daniel. So you have to be careful when you create your name on LinkedIn that you make sure that your name is set up in such a way so it's easy for people to mention you appropriately. One more thing to show you is that in groups, I go to my groups. Okay, so where did my groups go? Here's my groups. So I can now mention people in groups. This is interesting. And then I can mention people, and again, I think, I'll get rid of the caps, at Bob Smith. So there's Bob Smith right there. Okay, so, and then again, I can select his name, backspace out Smith. I think Bob will enjoy this. Okay, only can mention people who are members of the group that you're commenting in. Okay, one more thing to show you in looking for people. This is names. So go to this 64. Let's just go okay and get out of that. So now I can go up here. I can look for Bob Smith. Okay. And it only looks for Bob's. It doesn't look for Roberts. Okay. It's pretty specific here. If I do a Robert, there's all the Roberts. Now I can do Robert Pearson, but I can't do company. I can only do first name and last name in groups. Okay. Just some different tactics of using people's names in the search bar, in comments, in posts, and in LinkedIn groups When you get good at using people's names, finding their names, searching their names appropriately, it makes mentioning people on LinkedIn far easier. Again, I'm Teddy Burris, your LinkedIn coach and trainer. A quick little tip. I hope that was useful.